All right, bro, I'm going to try to do a quick just explanation of Quant, right? So Quant, it isn't a blockchain. It's more like I don't know, maybe like a gateway for APIs. What it does, it allows you basically to connect. Let me show you. All right, so you have all these different types of applications, and you have payment applications here. You have your blockchains. You have your banks. You have your Internet of Things, which could be considered like, I don't know, your any robotics you're using for like let's say, for example, it's we're talking about maybe a company that ships certain products, right, internationally. Maybe they have a lot of robotics in their warehouse that uses AI to basically help kind of move things across the warehouse and get them ready for shipping. The issue with, so for example, let's say here, let's read this definition. I think it really helps to understand it. So the idea of combining apps goes far beyond just DeFi, right? This is the future of all applications. This is what the future of all applications will be: interacting with supply chain, decentralized identities, financial platforms, healthcare, Internet of Things, as well as interacting with non-blockchain networks, right? That's important. All in a scalable, interoperable way, following globally recognized standards, without imposing restrictions on underlying blockchains or adding additional overhead, latency, or bottlenecks. Now, typically what you can do, right? Let's say a company ships, I don't know, maybe furniture across overseas from America to China. If they wanted to automate their entire process, like from the moment they receive an email, let's say they wanted to automate even the verbiage that gets picked up off the email from a recurring customer. Let's say they wanted to automate the entire process to where they minimize the amount of overhead of people that are required to perform that entire process, right? Which could ultimately cut down a lot of costs, and you also make everything a lot more efficient. Well, technically, what you can do is, even without Quant, what you can do is use the APIs, right, to connect all these little different applications and networks, right? But the problem is, let's take Quant out of the picture, right? If you try to do every single little thing here independently, you're having to worry about each single step. You're having to worry about setting up each single step, right? Which could be burdensome. It just could be tedious, and if something changes, now you gotta go and modify the entire process again, and it just becomes a mess sometimes to organize and to handle, right? But Quant allows you to connect all these, right, without having to add any additional tedious work to the process, right? It simplifies that process for you. It's like if I have a company that does all this setting up for you, you just have to worry about maybe setting up I haven't messed with Quant yet, but maybe you just have to worry about setting up your conditions on a platform that they offer or something, which can make it, a lot easier for you as a company to maybe even like have, let's say you're a company that loves to integrate technology, right? And you're constantly thinking of your new processes to implement or to change or to modify. I think Quant allows you to make that process a lot smoother and simpler. So as you can see here, the Overledger network will enable developers to select their favorite blockchains and API services and combine them to build exciting new products and scalable interoperability, right? An example of that would be automating receiving an email, automate that with conditions to release a payment, right? Maybe 50% payment. That payment gets completed through Google Pay or something. Once that payment is received, you're using robotics, maybe, right? AI to move your product from point A to point B inside the warehouse where it gets ready for shipping, right? So you would use VeChain, and at that point you would bring in VeChain to kind of help manage or track the quality of your product, and also track the product in general from point A to point B, right? And track your inventory. From there, let's say you use your robotics AI that receives a signal to help you move the product from point A to point B in the warehouse, and then when the product is received at the actual customer's location and they verify that everything's good on their end, that would maybe trigger a condition that releases the other 50% of the payment, right? Now, this can be done, like I said, without quant, but it is kind of a hassle. So I can now see the benefit of having quant, which is kind of more oriented towards actual enterprises and businesses that really want to focus on having, some of these companies. I think in the future it is going to be important to have a developer on your team no matter what type of company you own, because this is how you're going to be able to really cut down on costs, right, that people weren't aware of before, right, and still maintain the same security, same level of non-restrictive kind of process, right, or system, without having to create any additional bottlenecks to your processes that could affect either your bottom line. But this could ultimately increase your bottom line plus your top line, right? Because you're making things more efficient, and you're also fundamentally saving or cutting costs on how you do your overall processes as a business. So that's kind of a quick summary, bro, of how quant can be used. It's not really a blockchain. It's more of like a software that helps you connect different types of softwares. And if you look at here, you can kind of see by what the services they offer. It's like just geared towards businesses. For example, right here, let's say I'm a company that ships furniture, and I choose to buy this package right here, where I have 5 developers on my team. Maybe I work with VeChain and I don't know, maybe Ethereum for smart contracts, or depending what it is, right? But see, now it charges you for 30 projects that you do, or maybe like you pay for 30, but maybe you really only use 15. And then this is kind of a way of charging you for the types of calls that you're making within your process. So as you can see, it's kind of geared towards enterprises as opposed to it actually being a blockchain. But overall, that's kind of my understanding so far of what quant can offer. I think overall it's a great product. However, essentially at the root of what we're discussing right now with XRP and XLM and XDC is, first, the financial structure has to change first, fundamentally and foundationally. So this essentially can be left out of it at the moment. This is more of like the next step. That it's going to be involved a lot with trade finance, right? So global trade finance, because this is all like business oriented, right? So fundamentally, it's not really important to the actual change of the financial system, but it really does help going forward in the future. And this is where it's going. I think next is this is what we're going to be having to deal with. Once the whole system is set up, the financial system is good to go. Now we worry about optimizing efficiencies in companies and processes, and really taking that next step in evolution in how we do business globally and connectedly, and being connected on a global scale. So there you go. I hope that helps, man.